So I received a download today, and it's the most profound thing that I've never heard. It's been a building concept in my mind that the principles of music theory are the same principles that guide music theory, the principles that exist, that structure music, are the same principles that structure reality. For some reason, I believe that, and because of the experiences I've had that I've shared some stuff about in the past. But it's just one of those things. Like I know it. I absolutely know it. And so I mean, I've got the major scale over here. Obviously, you see the instruments and stuff. But anyway, so there's something about the human experience, in my perception, in this journey thing that I'm on. Like, so there's something about connection. We want connection so bad. We want to have relationships. We want to build things. Like most people that aren't heavily influenced by negative experience and cultural indoctrination, like a lot of people, the idea of having kids is something intrinsic. Like it's not like a oh, you only want to have kids because society told you to. Like it's built into us. I mean, it has to be. Look at everything else. Like it's the only way it's the only way we can exist. So so this idea that music theory is like this principle. I understand music theory. I don't have it all memorized or anything like that, but I know how it works. And and so one of the fundamental principles of Western music theory is the major scale. Like, I mean, that's not even, but it's based off of the major scale. And inside of the major scale, there are 12 notes. And then with those 12 notes, there are 7 keys that are made. And so you have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's the musical alphabet. You have the 7 keys. And without getting into any major details, a given key is made up of 7 of those 12 notes in a particular order. And when a chord is played, the foundation of music as we understand it, generally speaking, as Western people, modern people for the most part. I mean, there's music elsewhere, but there's not a lot of popular music from India and stuff like that around. Like American-ish music, Western music is the music that is on the radio. That's what we listen to, type of stuff. But so within it, you have the major scale, which is the foundation of it, and then inside of that, within the structure of the scale, you have a chord. So say we're in whatever. So it doesn't matter what key we're in. Here's A. That right there, you have 6 strings, 6 notes. But the notes that are being played, there's only 3 notes. You've got your root note, you've got your 5th, the perfect 5th, you got another root, and then you got the 3rd, and then another 5th, and then another root. It's just the same 3 notes, kind of in different octaves to give it that particular, what they call like a sound or a voicing. But anyway, that's only 3 notes, and it is the root, the 5th, and the 3rd. And that's a major chord, and that's the foundation of all music. And there's something about the concept, because there's 3 of them, the Trinity. There's something about the concept of this Trinity that is fundamental to understanding what the hell's going on around here and what we're doing. Like what are we doing? Why are we doing it? And this is still just a big whatever. This is just something I've come up with. I'm just sharing my I'm just sharing my map with y'all. But so that's music theory. The foundation, because right there, that's an A major chord. I could sing an entire song with just that chord. The point is that's the foundation. Like that, like you can build off of that. You can do all kinds of, like, run the A major. You could go anywhere from it, but the foundation of it is the A major, and it's the root, the perfect fifth, and the third. And there's something about this quest for the Trinity. Religion's obsessed with it. Spirituality is obsessed with it. Everything is obsessed with it. The universe is obsessed with it. This Trinity, this concept. Like, there's something special that happens when three particular frequencies come together. Something magical happens. And like gunpowder, and there's different combinations of things. Like Paul Stamens has came up with this combination of, he discovered it, psilocybin, niacin, and what was the other one? Like B12 or something. Yeah, I think it was B12. And like it does something. Like what he was saying is that it does something for your neural pathways. Well, I accidentally did it one time. What I would consider to be a microdose of mushrooms, and I drank a magic mind with it. And no, it's lion's. That's what it is. It's lion's mane, Flushing niacin, and psilocybin. And that three combination of those three, it does something to your brain, and it literally like kind of opens you up. Like the way he was saying is that it kind of opens you up to kind of new neural pathways, like neural networks. It opens up. It kind of reinvigorates neuroplasticity to a degree. And I accidentally did it one time, and I didn't realize it. But so I took those mushrooms, which should have been a microdose, should not have felt anything, and then took that magic mind that has the lion's mane and the niacin in it, and I drank a Red Bull. It had even more niacin in it. But like I had a deep spiritual meditative experience with that. And just anyway, so that's just a side note about the Trinity thing. That's not actually important necessarily integral to what I'm trying to say. It's just a point about this idea that something special happens because everything's frequencies. And music theory, there's this whole interesting thing where Terrence Howard, this was my first introduction to it, when Terrence Howard presented on Joe Rogan the way the periodic scale of elements actually works, and it's in octaves. It's a scale of octaves, and that's all. Like that scale of octaves is the frequency of reality, the frequency of existence, the frequency of everything that we can comprehend and read. Not even comprehend, but just read with the things that we can create. Like that's the octaves of our realm, if you will. And music theory lays over top of that identically, which proved my hunch to me anyway, that there's something fundamentally important about music theory, not just as an art form, but as an understanding of how energy works and how music is formed, and why it is that the A minor chord feels that way, and then the C and the G feels that way, and then when you play them in that order, there's something soothing about that, as opposed to the order that they're in, and the way every vibration comes together creates a particular effect. Anyway, but the fact that this notion of the octaves of the frequencies of all of the elements of reality and the physical world that we live in, that music theory overlays with that. So this is just a big kind of a backstory into what I received, whatever, today. But so there's something about that notion of the Trinity, and so the idea is that music theory overlays, and the Trinity and This idea that we're a note, we are a frequency, everything's a vibration, and you, in this thing, you represent, in music theory, you represent one of the 12 notes, or the 12 archetypes. It's all there. Like, it's all this stuff that they tell us, it's all these little visual things that if we were interested enough and we still had imagination, these things could take us into really interesting places, but we're stuck in taking other people's ideas and saying that's facts, and then we limit our own imaginations, therefore we cut off our access to information from God or the universe. And so anyway, so I've been kind of not fixated, but just really stuck on this idea that there's something that within the context of this whole thing, the individual person is a single note. And if the note is used properly, you can do beautiful things if you know what you're doing with the notes. But the thing is we don't even know we're notes. We don't know what a note does. We don't know what this is. We don't know why we feel the things that we do. We don't know why we have the lingering feelings after an emotional interaction with somebody. We don't know why a breakup hurts so bad. We don't know why it hurts so bad. Why it's so devastating when someone you trust lies to you. We don't understand all that shit because we don't understand frequencies. We don't understand that you're a root note. And when somebody lies to you, they're coming in. That's what the lie is. That the lie is that thing that happened in relation to your root. It's dissonant. It's too far away from you. You don't know what to do with that. There's no context for it. But if you were to, you could put it in a solo. You could make it an interesting thing that pops up for a second. But you don't want that. You don't want that constantly in there with your root all the time. Sorry, but the point is that there's a fundamental connection between the frequencies and the energies. And so anyway, so with that being said, there's just this idea that that's the magic trinity: the root, the perfect fifth, the root being the dominant sound, the perfect fifth being the next supporting sound that harmonizes perfectly. That's why it's a perfect fifth. And then you have the three that adds a spice. And then when you double it up like this, it all layers together and it becomes something beautiful. And in kind of just presenting the question to the universe, well, what's that mean? Like, how do I do that? Like, how do I make a chord? Like, if I'm just a note, how do I become part of a chord? And obviously the thing is, well, just go be around other notes, okay? Okay, that sounded decent because I actually know what I'm doing. But the point is, it's just randomly going around other notes. Like, if we want to make music. So, this is very long-winded, and I'm sorry if it's annoying. But the point is that we don't know that we're notes. And we're thrown into this world of other notes that don't know that they're notes. And we're all bouncing off of each other and being told what to do. And we're told, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to go get married. And you need to do that, or whatever, all the different avenues of things. But it's just this idea that adolescent, immature people are pushed into marriage without understanding who they are and how they operate in this world. And then they're thrown in with another note. Maybe it's a perfect fifth, that's all right. Maybe it's a fourth, okay. Maybe it's a third, okay, I don't know. I mean, but each different note. Ooh, what if you... The point is that not all notes work together. And when we're forced into these obligatory situations, and see, we don't understand human psychology, we don't understand how this works because we're lied to about everything. Nobody tells us anything. And That's to say that everything we learned about how we are as human beings, there's not a lot of truth to it in what they gave us access to in public education. And so the idea is, okay, well, it's a good godly thing to get married quick and have babies quick and produce and be happy and love and tra-la-la. And I guess maybe in a perfect world, yeah, that's all well and good, but just the idea that we don't understand what we're doing to our children. Like we don't understand, and what I mean by that is we don't understand. The average person doesn't really understand why they are the way they are, why they think the way they think they do, why they feel the way they think they do, why they're attracted to the things they're attracted to. We don't understand our frequency. We don't understand why that's that. We don't understand when we walk into a room, we feel weird. We don't understand what that means. We just like, oh, I feel weird. I have anxiety. I better take some fucking drugs or whatever. But the fact is you're this note and you walk into a room and there's a receptor in there that we don't know about. And when you walk in that room and you're feeling weird, that's because there's a vibration in there that you don't actually know what that is, because you don't know how, because nobody's teaching us, because we've been told that we're just stupid animals that evolved out of nothing. But that's what those feelings are. Those feelings are frequencies entering into your reception, and you not knowing what they are because you don't know anything about frequencies, because nobody told us that, because we're weird little monkey slaves that are just brainwashed into doing shit, and we go do it. But just kind of having this realization about it just wasn't even a realization, it just came to me like while I was cooking my breakfast. And so the thing with we don't understand how we're made, and so we don't understand. We have all these concepts like generational curses and all these things, and we hyper spiritualize all this stuff, and we make it into kind of nonsensical things that are hard to process for most people. I mean, maybe those terms are useful for some people to help process it or get through it in some way. I mean, that's very possible as well, but it's not overly useful for the average person. But so we have these concepts of generational curses and this, that, and the other, and things of that nature. And the reason that is because we have generations of people who don't understand who they are at the essence, who believe they are something based on whatever they picked up throughout their life, and they're unbalanced. We are a frequency, and there's a trinity inside of us. That's a different topic. But if you can, the thing is that in order for this frequency to be able to be in a controlled environment, in order for you to come into a room full of other notes and not turn into that, you have to get your frequencies balanced, because there are 3 frequencies inside of you that need to be balanced. And if you can balance those frequencies out and find harmony within yourself, now, you say, okay, I'm a G. I know who I am. I know. Then you start drawing some lines around you, and you say, you know what? I'm a G, and I know. I don't want none of that shit, because that's not fun. That doesn't feel good. I'm not interested in any of that. And then you have a receptor for that. You can feel those things now. And then so you go, ooh. And boom, because you know who you are and you know how to interact, you can, and then even when that one ugly note comes in, which note was wrong. It doesn't matter because I know how to handle my note. That's the key. We don't know how to handle our notes, so we're getting fucked up by all the other frequencies around us, throwing us off because we don't know how to use this machine that we're given. You learn how to balance your frequency, get your trinity in order, get you, your ego, and your higher self in communication, get that shit in line. Something happens inside of you, and now all of a sudden, you can walk in a different way. You can interact in a different way. I don't know why I'm staring at that speaker instead of the camera, but. But anyway, so here's what this weird matrix thing, this idea that it seems society exists as this weird trial. I mean, Jesus Yeshua said who is he who overcomes the world. The world, it's a trial, it's a game, it's some weird thing that we're supposed to do. And I think the whole of the experience is the quest of the Trinity, the Holy Grail, whatever it is. Like we see it in all the religious stuff, and so I believe, and then there's all this stuff and the way religion demonizes sex and intimacy and sexuality and things of that nature. There's something very special about sex because of the energy exchange. Like a lot of people don't understand why they're depressed in everybody, especially nowadays, y'all out there having sex with each other. Everybody's having sex with everybody and nobody knows why they're depressed. Well, you stuck your antenna, or you allowed an antenna to be stuck inside of you, and you just downloaded a person's entire history. And there's something weird about the negative charge that goes on in this body. We hold on to negative shit a lot easier than we hold on to positive shit. So when you go having sex with these random people that you don't know what they are, you are literally downloading hidden information into you. And now you have to sort that out with your own bullshit. And you don't know you don't know what anything's going on. So you're in a crazy mess, so you go take some fucking Zoloft or something. I don't know, whatever the pills are called nowadays. Anyway, the point is that we're awful until you can get to this place, until you can find the way, which is inside. You go in your inner chamber, you go into your brain, and you close the door and you stop thinking, and you allow this thing to explain itself to you. The manual's inside. It's not out here. You're not going to read a fucking book. No priest is going to tell you. No guru is going to tell you. Nobody's going to fucking tell you anything. They're going to run you in circles just like they always do. And that's what they're supposed to do. Go listen to Alan Watts. He ousted him a long time ago. Like, the instructions are inside, and you just have to be willing to sit there long enough for them to pop up. And it's weird, but that's how it fucking works. And once you get yourself in control, you can play. You can play in a different way. You're not being pushed around anymore. Now you know how to insert yourself. You know what to do. You know how to interact. And so, but the thing is before you can do that, you're a shitstorm. And just like everybody else, we're all shitstorms. And then we find other shitstorms. We find shitstorms that we can deal with long enough, and then we have little babies. And then we don't understand what little babies are. And the reality is that all of the fears and the trauma and the hurt and the anxiety and the judgment, all the stuff, all the things that we don't talk about, all of the demons in our closets, all of that is downloaded into that child through your genetics particularly, but more so through the programming in which the environment they exist in. Because all those subtleties, all those fears, all that stuff is going to come out in the way you interact. And all they know how to do in the beginning is register energy. They're just registering your energy. You teach them how to talk, and you teach them how to turn that into a form of whatever, but they're reading your energies at first. And most of us aren't aware of all the background energies because we don't know anything about it. And so what we're doing is we're programming a lot of distorted, broken information into our children from both ends. And then they grow up, and then there's this dissension with society, the way society seems to work, and this, that, and the other. For whatever reason it happens, every generation just hates the last generation for whatever reason. Everybody that came before us is the biggest piece of shit in the world. They ruined everything. When we're all watching the same fucking news, making the same fucking decisions, but somehow your neighbor's the problem. Anyway, so this idea that I don't know, I guess it's hard. It's hard to try to put that into something a bit more tangible. So the idea, okay, well, so here's the idea. So here's the idea. You're the root note. If there's a model to how to get to the major chord, how to get to that, how to turn your life into that. Compared to maybe that's you with your girlfriend and her stepchild or whatever. Who knows what's going on. But the idea is that a healed man, because this isn't political, this isn't anything, but there's masculine and there's feminine, and then there's the connection of the two, and then the way electromagnetism works, the way electricity works is you have the main, and this isn't like a man's in charge thing, or that's not even where this is going, but just this idea that the man is the root, and the reason the man is the root is, one, he has a root, so we could play that game right there. The man's the root note. The man is the dominant thing, because any man who hasn't been broken by the world stands on business, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna fucking do that. And that's because you're the root, because a lot of men have misguided egos and wounded pasts that haven't healed and stuff like that, so it turns into the shit show that we have right now. But a real strong, confident man knows his notes, and he knows what happens when you let shitty notes in. So no, this is my thing here. And generally speaking, that is an attractant to a particular other resonance, and that would be a perfect fifth. And just as the fundamental principle building block of a single chord that can be played, if we're looking at human beings as notes, you have the male as the root, the female that has her frequencies balanced, not any given female, but perhaps any. The female has her frequencies balanced, can become the perfect fifth to that root. And now they are in a harmonious relationship. And as long as they stay true to who they are, there's never, you can bend a little bit. See, the root gets a little weird when it bends. But the point is a tuned root and a perfect fifth can harmonize together. They can bend around, and everything's fine. It doesn't have to be whatever. It doesn't have to be. And then when they come into the perfect unity in life, you have this third thing that happens. Now those two have come together, and they have born this other thing. And the other thing is the third in the major scale. You have the just give you this full resonant harmony, just nice. You maybe can't hear it on there, but that's just a solid. There's a little bit of vibration coming from this thing. But then when you add that third in there, now it's like there's even a melody in there. And so, anyway, this is just a really long-winded way of saying that it seems to be that we are these weird little avatars that are walking around trying to process all this shit, trying to figure out what's going on, and everybody wants to know what to do and how to do it, and all these religions tell us all this shit, and everybody's miserable, and everybody's killing each other, and money rules the world, and yada yada yada. And then there's this little subsect of people that talk about this kind of shit, and they all fucking die and disappear. And so, fuck it. I mean, this shit needs to be talked about, because this is what's going on. Like, we are beautiful, harmonic instruments that receive and transmit electronic information in who the fuck knows what, because we're stuck here. We don't understand the spectrum, the light spectrum. This is us. That's the whole fucking spectrum. Same with sound. We don't know anything. We have no idea what's going on. We are on the lowest plane of all. We can read that there's all this shit going on. Look how much is going on here. Look how much is going on within this minute amount of frequency. Every bit of the ether is consumed with something within this frequency spectrum, and we see it all. You think that fucking cosmos going up in, like, we're the lowest. You think that cosmos going up? You think there's nothing there? You think that's just fucking white noise? That's just the fucking dead TV because this is the main show? Like, anyway, there's access to that information, but it's inside. The instructions are inside, not out there. They're inside, and you just gotta learn. Just let your mind get tired and get to it. But the point being, back to the point. You got the root. That the idea that we're after, not even that we're after, I presented the question to the universe a long time ago, what the hell's going on here and what do I do with it? And I got a lot of really detailed answers, and now I seem to have access to any information that I want. As very good as that sounds. And part of that answer is understanding how music is made and how music works. And the reason music is beautiful is because the frequencies are aligned in a very particular way. And if you do that with your life, you can make beautiful life just like you can make beautiful music. You just have to understand what's going on. And so society fucks us up. We're constantly going to war. We're constantly paying bills. We're constantly all this shit flooding us with all this information that we can't process and this, that, and the other. And the world that exists on the screen, you don't really seem to see it in real life, but it's there, and you're real fucking worried about that, and you neglect the real life because of how scary the screen is. There's some weird fucking distortions going on there too, but but so this idea that it seems to be, I mean, and then the teachers, it's like Buddha. It said that Buddha said that life is suffering, and that has been, I think that's been misconstrued in a very nihilistic kind of whatever way, or just kind of life's a bitch, then you die, fuck the world, let's get high type of mentality. But I don't believe that's what the Buddha was saying, because what history likes to do is like chop shit up and show us little specks of it and say, here's what was going on. But what the Buddha was actually saying is that life is suffering, and the reason life is suffering, that is an inevitable conclusion. Like if we made one baseline generalization, life is suffering. There are highs, there are exceptional highs for some people, but generally speaking, everybody suffers. Some people never get to the highs. Everybody suffers. So life is suffering. But within the philosophies and the ideas that Buddha was talking about, it doesn't just end with life is suffering. It's there seems to be a correlation with one's amount of personal suffering and the amount of attention they're giving to shit they can't do anything about. We suffer because we become attached to something with which we cannot interact, and therefore we can't do anything about, and therefore we can't get any sort of dopaminergic response from that other than yelling at people on the internet and doing that kind of shit. But The point being is that we have a resonant frequency inside of us that is us. That there's the you. There's a you inside of you, and then there's two other frequencies. One manifests itself as your ego, which thinks it knows a lot, and then the other one is the still small voice of the intuition that tries to get you out of shit if you would just shut the fuck up and listen to it. But we're all stuck in our egos. And so there's this whole idea of there's a trinity going on here. There's you, and then there's the ego, and then there's the intuition. But we're told that we're just a big shitstorm of whatever, and that this is all you. There's no one in the mainstream anything anywhere explaining that no, this is not all you. Or that it is all you, but even if you do want to say that it's all you, there's distinctions between the you that is thinking and talking and the you that is this nose hair right here. If we're going to play that game, there's distinctions there. And the fact is that if you quiet your reception of the outside world, the brain will slow down. The reason we're all fucked up and anxious is because we're consuming all this information non-stop, all day, every day. And we're overwhelmed because we can't fucking process it. And we're anxious because they're scaring us all the time. But the thing is, if you stop fucking watching it, it goes away. And that's the secret they don't want you to know. That's why it's one catastrophe after another, because you're afraid that if you stop looking at that, you're gonna miss something, and the next COVID's gonna fucking kill us, or the next ISIS, or the next fucking mass shooter, or whatever this, that, and the other is. I'm not saying that shit's not actually happening. I'm not saying there aren't things happening in the world. I'm just saying that we don't know what the fuck the world is. That's a fact. We're born in, we're told a bunch of shit, none of it makes sense, and somehow we all buy into it and fucking keep ourselves pacified with, as they like to say, with bread and circuses. The ancient Rome quote, I mean, as they say it, I don't know who knows where it actually, whatever, but the idea that give them bread and circuses and then never revolt. That was, what was it, Caesar or something like that, and he was the Roman emperor. Well, Rome fell, became a church, and took over the whole goddamn world. And now look at, here we are. The pinnacle of society is a bunch of people who are high on bread and circuses, who don't even have a second thought to rebel because the fucking pineal gland is glazed over from our diet and restriction and all the shit that fucks us up and all our anxiety and all of our corrosive behaviors and this, that, and the other. Anyway, society seems to be some weird information transmitting thing. Like we're born, this idea that we're born into sin. We're born into society. Society tells you all these rules. And then at some point you realize, wait a minute, this is bullshit. And then you say, well, what do I do? Well, the ancients say, go inside. You go inside, you realize it's all bullshit. You realize that who you are is some weird character that you built off of to survive in this shit show storm that we've lived in. And then as you sit down, you realize that, you process that, you might lose your mind a couple of times. You might go crazy. You might not want to talk to anybody for a while. But you sit and you process through all this shit, and then all of a sudden, clarity starts to come in waves, and then a little bit of darkness might come and some clarity, and you deal with all that shit that's inside of you, and then all of a sudden you realize that everything, all this shit that they said mattered, not only is it questionably not even real, it's certainly not fucking important. And the beginning of my journey was just putting my phone down for 2 weeks and realizing that, holy shit, nothing that I've been worried about and paying attention to seems to actually exist in the real world in front of me. It just exists on the screen. And I've been playing tag because I have ADHD and a weird dopamine system, so. So I've been playing tag with social media and stuff like that, but it's fun because the algorithm gives you exactly what you want to see, so there's a lot of interesting shit that people are saying out there if you can stay away from all the stupid shit. Anyway, back to the long-winded nonsense that you're a note put into this world. Society distorts you and gives you a false image of who you are. You realize that, and then you die to that false image. You die to yourself. You have to be born again. Unless you be born again, you cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven. That means you have, being born again is realizing that you have been born into sin. You've been born into this program of what you're supposed to be. And then when you realize it's not you, and that it actually hurts trying to do that, you die to that. You put to death the ego, because the ego is the one running the show. You put him to death. And then as he's dying, quietly inside of you, you watch him squirm and you realize who he is. And then that other voice starts getting a little bit louder, and then you start realizing, oh, holy shit here. And then a balance begins to take place where you realize that the ego has a place, he's just not the captain. That there's this other thing that is always fucking right, that maybe he should be in the captain's chair. Actually, you're in the captain's chair, but you just have two controllers. That's the thing. So you are running this ship. You're the one making the choices. But the choices are coming through the filter of the ego and through the filter of the intuition. And society keeps us in our ego. The logical, I know this, that, and the other, physical world, let me control shit. That's what we are born into. That's what being born into sin is being born into the ego. And we have to realize that, go within yourself, go into the inner chamber and close your door, and there you will be blessed. Do not pray out in the open, go into the inner chamber and close off the door, and there you will be blessed openly. That's go into yourself. Go into the inner chamber of your mind and close the door to thoughts. Stop thinking. You have to learn how to do that, and you'll teach yourself how to do it if you just take the time to do it. And once in there, you start to sort yourself out, and nobody can tell you anything. There's no instruction. There's no Messiah. There's no Jesus. There's no Buddha. There's no those. Who knows what all this shit is? But everything that you need to know is going on inside of you. And the thing is that if you can get straightened out, if you can just straighten yourself out, and there's no standard. You're the only fucking judge. You get yourself to where you feel like you're balanced, because you know it. You know when you're balanced, because you're not stuck in all the anxiety and all the bullshit that used to be. It's not to say that things don't come. You don't have to. You don't become impenetrable. You just know how to deal with shit. You start learning how to deal with the frequencies, and you can put capacitors in that can absorb certain frequencies, just like a fucking circuit board. That's what's going on here. You're creating a circuit board that knows how to deal with what's going on around you. And so, once you do that, once you get your note established, you can just live. And then maybe you'll come across a perfect fifth somewhere. And it's like, hey, you want to hang out? And then, so, you're not wandering so much anymore. You're like, oh, now you got somewhere to stay. You start playing some music. And then, anyway, this is just a weird, long thing that you are a healed, balanced human being who gets together with another healed, balanced human being who makes the perfect fifth. And then you bring in the third into the equation. Therefore, and just this idea of the two become one, and then they create another. I don't know. I mean, I don't have answers. I have crazy revelations and my meandering thoughts about them. And there's something to this. There's something about not the bullshit marriage that we're given, but this idea of two frequencies learning how to resonate together in a beautiful way that they can become a harmonizing chord. And then the union of that creates this other little being that is a blank slate of the fundamentals of the energy that went into them, and then the interaction. It's going to be the interaction between them and these things. And so this idea is that the way to a new heavens and a new earth is, we're not changing each other's minds here. You are the only God in your universe, and it's the hologram that lives inside of your head. That little voice inside of you, it's you. If you can separate yourself from all the bullshit that you think you know, the still small voice of God inside of you is you. And you can add. This is a free game. You can play and go have fun. Nobody's stopping you from doing shit. But if you want to do something in the world, learn how to control your frequency and start paying attention to what's going on around you, and your intuition will build you a blueprint to take any road that you want to. And all you have to do is work in that direction. And I mean, it sounds bullshitty and hokey or whatever, and I mean, but it's a process. My whole life is transformed. Like those of you who have watched me grow as a musician, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to validate myself or anything like that, but like my creativity has exploded since this has taken place. And like whatever, like just like these downloads and shit. I get these downloads all the time. Like I don't make very many videos because of obvious reasons, but yeah, like it happens all the time. But I don't know. There's just something of this idea that we're in this game, and the purpose is to overcome it. Don't get mad about it. Don't obsess about it. Don't pay attention to it any more than you need to. Find out who you are. Block out all the bullshit long enough to find out who you are. And then start to carve out your little niche. Take care of yourself, and then take care of your immediate surroundings. And as you do that, as you take care of what you can see is yours or lies within the realm of your responsibility or that you can improve, just do that. And then the whole world starts expanding in front of you. And it's fucking magic. And I mean, and it's intertwined in all the religious stuff. Like it's just, you just got to get away from the religion. You just gotta, nothing. Jesus himself said, judge nothing according to appearances, but judge all things rightly. The only way to judge things rightly is to understand that everything outward is a projection and the guts are on the inside. So you go inside, you get yourself right, you become righteous, you balance your trinity, and now you're righteous. And now you can discern things. You're not judging, you're not saying, oh, this is good and that's bad, because you realize that none of that shit's actually real. That's just you. And that's just them. But anyway, have fun with that.